Good morning. It is Saturday, October 18th. So, lots of testing in the last 2 weeks. Nothing but every time I was home, I've been messing around down here trying different things, communication back and forth with SUNGOLDPOWER, trying to get this to go into bypass and charge, use the internal battery charger. It's got an internal 40 amp battery charger, and you can run either shore or generator power to it to go into bypass. Then it powers up the house or any loads off of that shore or generator power, and then activates the internal battery charger and charges the batteries. That is the advertised capability of it. It also has an internal solar MPPT charge controller. I have, since I got it, I want to say probably 2 months ago, late August or early September, I got it, and I've been having troubles with it engaging with the generator power to be able to charge batteries. I could get it to just pass through. If I bypass the battery charger in the settings, I could get it to pass generator power through and power the house up on generator power, but I couldn't do both. Or it really didn't like charging off of that power either way. Even if I powered down the house by killing the switch here, it would engage the charger briefly, and it would kick back out and then start throwing fault codes and die and have to be restarted, and it started getting really frustrating. And I was, tested a bunch of different things. What it came down to, and what SUNGOLDPOWER pointed out to me, I made a couple of videos just for them on a no-name channel and just sent them the links to them. I'm gonna delete them because I was communicating with just SUNGOLD, so that's just between me and them. But they watched them, and I scanned through all of my settings on the display here, and then I scanned through all the running parameters, and they noticed that the frequency, the hertz frequency, the output frequency of my generator was way out of spec. It was going from 57 all the way to 61, bouncing up and down. The volts were steady enough, but the hertz was way out of spec. And it is an old no-name generator that I just got for a good deal from a pawn store. But output potential wise, it's a 3,500 watt generator, and I was frustrated, like, why can't this handle the load of the battery charger and bypass when I was only really drawing about 1,000 watts from the generator? Well, that mattered a lot less than the output frequency. This is higher precision equipment than I expected, I guess. I'm happy to declare that the equipment works perfect. So like I said, after testing lots of different variables and coming to that conclusion, I didn't think I had a good way to continue testing without using an inverter generator. And then I had the thought yesterday morning with my first cup of coffee, Like, for goodness sakes, I've got extra batteries and another pure sine wave inverter. Actually, I've got a couple of them, but I've got a pretty capable pure sine wave inverter that I know has a clean sine wave, I know has perfectly steady voltage and output frequency. So I disconnected this leg, this pile of batteries from the main bank, and I disconnected this lead and just took this 24 volt series, hooked it up to the Synbo 3000 that has been running my house for the last 6 or 7 years. I forget how long I've had it. It's been a great inverter, but it was time to make that final upgrade and go up to 48 volts. So now she's a backup. She'll get a new job, but for now she's just a backup if something happens here. But so I made a cord and ran from the Synbo, powered up off of these 3 batteries, to the input on the SunGold, where the generator, the shore power, would go in, and powered up the Synbo and flipped the switch on the side here. It does have its own breaker for AC input. And what do you know, instantly it went into bypass mode and began charging and ran the charger perfectly. So it was passing through power from the Synbo that was running the house and then charging these 12 batteries off of those 3. And it ran steady and perfect, and I watched the output frequency, and it was a perfect 60.0, and volts were a perfect 120. And everything worked perfect. So I let it go for about 10-15 minutes, which it had never done even close to before. It was like a minute and then it would kick out, and shrugged my shoulders and said, well, it's the generator. I'm glad we figured it out. I'm glad, I'm ecstatic that the SunGold works perfect. I was not super stoked that I needed to dole out more money for another generator. It is what it is. Like I said, the SunGold is obviously higher precision equipment than I expected, which is a good thing. So just know that going into it, I guess, if you're looking at purchasing something like this and, you know, have an older style generator, it's not going to work. It's not going to do what you want it to. So you're going to need an inverter generator, because it needs that clean sine wave. Even if you put it in the EPI or whatever mode that can accept a little bit of fluctuation, it needs to be a pretty darn clean sine wave and pretty darn clean, steady hertz. So right now I've got it. Okay, well, let's just go out to the shed. I've got it tied back into the wire that goes to the shed, and let's go check that out. All right, outside. Sun's poking out. So, this is the Predator. It's 4550 starting watts, 3650 running watts inverter generator, and she's pretty awesome. It's got quiet mode, which I just leave off. Then it's, I mean, all that does is when there's no load, it idles it down until it senses a load, then it idles up to match output off. it just runs it at steady, you know, ready for anything output. And I mean, whatever. Maybe I'll use that, you know, if I'm doing stuff outside and I'm trying to save gas or whatever. I'm going to be intermittently welding or something like that. And I don't need it wide open all the time. But I'm mostly just happy that it has good, clean output. I ran 3 gallons through it last night, which gave the batteries a really good charge. It brought them up to like 95% charged according to the graph on the app, which the app on the SunGold inverter is actually pretty cool. I got the Wi-Fi module and downloaded the app, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I'll be 100% honest, but yep, tickled pink with this. I wasn't super happy about the expense because, you know, I've got another generator right there, but anybody that has those kinds of style generators, you know, it doesn't really matter what color it is or what name it says on it. They're all going to be real similar. They have good output and they'll run most electronics, 95% of electronics. That thing will run just fine, but there's some that are sensitive enough where you need a clean sine wave and clean frequency. And the SunGold inverter is one of them. So yeah, after tax this was $700. But I shouldn't need another generator for like a long time. This should be good for a long time, as long as I take care of her. So I did do a break-in run. I let it run for 30 minutes, just no load, and then I connected it to the inverter. It worked flawlessly. Instantly went into bypass, instantly started charging batteries, and I started at 15 amps. Let it go 5-minute increments, 5 amps at a time. I raised it up from 15, 20, 25, 30, and I did push it all the way up to 35 amps. It has the capability of 40, but with my 12 gauge wire, I didn't want to push the wire and be running, you know, this will do 20 amps output here, which would equate to 40 amps at the batteries. But I should get 10 gauge to do before I do that. It did run to 35 amps just fine, but just to not be having heat build up on wires and any potential problems, I turned it back down to 30 and just let it run itself out of gas. I filled it up with clean 10W30 oil, and the first 3 gallons I put 1 gallon's worth, one of the little jugs of 2-cycle oil in, just for break-in. I just got done dumping the oil. Not terrible, and this pan was already pretty darn dirty, but there was a teeny little bit of metallic stuff in it. So first run, you're going to want to do that with any brand new small engines. There is going to be some factory burring and stuff in there. So your first run, your first tank of gas, dump that oil out and refill it with clean stuff. Dump it all the way out and get that out of there, and then this thing will last. So it's in the on position. It's got a choke lever on the side, just a quick pull. And I'm not even gonna get up because this thing started really easy yesterday. There she is. Runs perfect. I will cut a 4-inch hole somewhere in here and just do venting and mount it, not attach it to the muffler, just in front of it, angled up and then back down to get the exhaust out of the shed, so I can close the doors and not have the running noise. Let's go flip the switch downstairs and watch her kick in. All right, back downstairs. So the sun came out and we definitely don't need to charge. There is 1150 watts coming in right now, and whoops, still haven't. Volts are already up to 55. We did charge batteries all the way up, like equalized the crap out of them last night. Oh, I suppose this can go back on. Oh. Come on. I'm one-handed, sorry. Anyways, so yeah, we don't need to charge, and I hope it actually engages. It should. And I've got her set in hybrid mode, so it will charge from PV and AC. So I'm going to engage it, and we'll see it switch to bypass, and then it will begin to charge, and we can watch. Oh geez. And then we can watch charging. So right now it's putting 17 amps into the batteries from the solar. I've got for I'm gonna kill the solar quick. Okay. Now it's not making anything. No, voltage is settling down, and let's just watch it do with power just from the bypass. Sensing, lights didn't flicker, went straight into bypass. Now the generator is powering the house, and it is preparing to charge. There it goes. It slowly fires up the charger, and the fans kick in. And it is now putting 30 amps in, 1600 watts, perfect 60.0 hertz coming in and going out, 114 volts. And batteries are going up to 55. I'm going to climb fast. So now that that's working, let's re-engage the solar and see what happens. Okay, now there's 208 volts coming in from solar. We'll see that start to climb. Yeah, we're making way more amps now. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so we're getting about 1150 from solar, 1150 watts from solar. So all together, it's putting 2,900 watts into the batteries right now, and it's climbing fast. 57. It's just steady climbing. That is freaking awesome, dude. 50 amps getting stuffed into the bats right now. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah, I suppose I didn't have the solar helping last night. I was just charging off of the generator. That's cool, man. So the hybrid works good. I'm sure anybody that's been following this noticed that I got solar going back into the SunGold. Having the higher volt input capacity is nothing but a benefit. So I've got the 20 panels and a series parallel 10 and 10 paralleled in, so it's putting out 200 or so watts or volts coming into the controller. The controller will accept up to 450, so I could have all 20 in one series, but that just seems insane to me. I think the 10 and 10 is going to be a better sweet spot. At least it's, I mean, I definitely got all 2,000 of my 2,000 rated panels. What was it? Wednesday. It peaked out at 2,112 watts. Well, it's 2,000 rated, and it went quite a bit over. So that's 105% output of the panels. So, so yeah, the money I spent on this thing was worth every penny. It's amazing. I'm in love with it now. So, just know going into it that you need a good generator if you want to use the pass-through and charging. The built-in charge control is slick. Spend the extra money on the Wi-Fi module and download the app, because the daily tracking, daily, weekly, monthly tracking of all your different parameters, your state of charge, your charger output, your solar input, your house usage, and what goes into the batteries. I can track all of that day by day, hour by hour, to the minute. Spikes, and you know, it's amazing. I'll put a couple screenshots on here. Pesto. But I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. I'm glad SunGold kept in good communication with me. They were prompt to get back every time we emailed. Every time I emailed them, they were back to me within 24 hours. Sometimes, you know, more like 6 hours. And we figured it out. So I admit, I was frustrated with this thing a couple of days ago. There was a lot of different stuff that I went through, to different settings. I still haven't put the manual away. I went through that book 100 times to get her dialed in right. You know, the instructions are pretty decent. It is Chinese, so I mean, it's a Chinese manual. You're gonna you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit and sort of translate yourself a little bit. It's definitely better than some Chinese manuals. It did take me a little bit, but I got it. And with the help of customer service, this thing works flawless. It's still just sitting here pumping 50 amps into the batteries. Look at all. We're at 28. These batteries are full. We're in really good shape here. I guess I may as well save the gas. So I'm going to disconnect power, and then we'll see that go back down to just what the solar was feeding. Volts are back down to 55. Making 1200 watts. It's early yet. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Maybe I'll catch it doing 2000. Probably not, because I'm so full already. It's probably just going to try and float, which is fine. But it works. It works really good. That's absolutely amazing. So I guess next, now that I got all that working, I got the input dialed in and figured out, next I'm going to finally do a torture test on this thing and see if it's actually a 5,000 watt inverter. And I would like to get an idea of what my peak starting wattage actually is. So to do that, I'll have to have my meter powered up, and I'll have to disconnect, cut out the inputs, because it only meters what's going through the shunt this way. So when it's charging, it's not moving current like what you would imagine DC. It's complex, but when it's charging from the solar, so it's charging batteries through these cables that are also running the inverter. It doesn't show that output on the meter, which is why it's disconnected right now, because it really doesn't do me any good. But then I'll be able to watch, I'll disconnect the PV and be able to watch output, and I'll hit the welder and I'll hook up some of my bigger tools. But torture test is coming down the line. Now I go through and reorganize this board for what's going to stay. This controller for the wind is coming back. That's going to go into place of the Appeaver. That is going to control the turbine. This little guy is going to be in place for the backup generator, and I'll tie the little PMA to this, and that will do the best possible. It'll optimize the efficiency out of that little PMA that's lower volts than the system. It'll boost it up, and I'll still be able to get output out of it, so it doesn't have to just sit there being a waste of money. It'll still be there for something. So if anything goes wrong with the SunGold or my generator in the shed, I'll have that for backup. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. SUNGOLDPOWER as of now is fantastic. I'm ecstatic, tickled pink. We'll keep an eye on it and hope everything keeps working good, but so far so good. Like, I got her dialed in and I'm very happy with my purchase. We'll see how it lasts, I guess. We'll the test of time. So just, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and whack that button, and a thumbs up would be awesome. I never ask for that stuff, just because it's cheesy, but I don't know. I do this for the sole reason I don't make any money off this channel. My purpose with this channel has always been to just show my experience, what works, what doesn't work. I've gone through a lot of equipment. Some of it worked better than others. Some of it worked like garbage. There's a lot of garbage out there, and I've always just tried to weed out the garbage. Everything on every video, all the way since the beginning, was purchased from money out of my wallet that I worked for. And I'm a Mason, so I work hard for my money. I don't want to waste it on garbage. So I want to share that experience so you don't have to waste your money on garbage. Maybe someday, if YouTube decides to like me enough to maybe throw me a a couple cents here and there, I would just reinvest that into the system. And it would be cool to be able to test out different equipment for people that are curious about, you know, a possible purchase, because I have the infrastructure set up to do so. I could test out wind controllers, I could test out solar controllers. I have a couple different systems of different voltages between the property here and up north, and I'll be building more in the future to be able to do more testing with. So that's the future of the channel. And yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it a lot. God bless you.